Hi everybody, welcome to another edition of the KMS Quick Shots. My name is Flo, and today I'm joined by Pascal Oorts, who is not only a musician, a producer and a studio engineer, but also an owner and CEO of the project studio called Tapelab, which is located, if I've done my homework correctly, in the heart of Antwerp, Belgium. Is that correct?
So all true, Flo. It is very
Perfect.
correct.
So, hi Pascal, nice to meet you. Thanks for being here.
Hello, Flo. Nice to meet you too, and thank you once again for the invitation. And hello to all your viewers.
So, tell me, is there anything not related to music in your life?
Um, that's a tough question to start. Let's say my whole life is built around and focused on music. There's some other things too, but everything is like focused and built around that aspect. Like I want to do music and I want to create music, so everything is like in function of that. So
When
yeah, there are a few other things, but yeah, mainly it's music. Yeah.
was there a time in your life where you decided from there on, I want to be a musician or I want to be an engineer or something like this? Or was it a process of that was just developing?
There were a few highlights in my career that really triggered certain aspects. Like as a teenager, I just was interested in music. Like I had a keyboard, I had a guitar, and I was really interested in just creating music. But somehow I never had the idea like, oh, I can turn this into a career. That only came like a few years later. And now I'm talking about the year 2000. That's like the moment that my career really started.
Mhm.
And what happened was I was playing in a Belgian rock band, and we won like the most important contest for alternative music in Belgium. So we got like a lot of press attention, and a lot of opportunities came out uh, of this fact that we won this contest. And that was like a trigger for me, like, wait a minute, I can actually make a career out of music because this triggers so much opportunities and makes me realize there's so much possible from now on that I really start pursuing like very actively a career in music. So
Was it
from that point, yeah, tell me.
was it an easy path from there on, or was it a stony and rocky road?
Estonia Rocky Road,
Okay.
absolutely. Uh, so from that moment, we realized, and me personally too, like, look, it's possible. So let's start putting in all the hard work. So we started working and creating lots of music and releasing in total 5 full albums and touring across all Europe. But that was really like a process of 2 steps forward, 1 step backward, 2 steps forward, 1 step backward. Um, and to be honest, from it took us around like 11 extra years to really get to like the height of our career then. So you can imagine that was like a lot of step forwards and then setbacks again. So yeah, it was a stony and rocky road. Yeah, that's the least you can say.
What what was your part in the band? Did you play an instrument or did you sing?
I was a keyboard player of the band.
Okay.
That was always my main interest, like the sound of synthesizers and keyboards. So that was my function in the band.
Did you take lessons or were you a self-made man behind the keys?
I was a self-made man, actually for everything until like a few years ago. Like I was a self-made man on keyboards. Also, everything I know about production, I taught myself. It's only like 4 5 years ago I realized, like, look, I want to be able to read music from now on, and I want to improve my keyboard playing. So I went to academic school and start studying classical piano. So that's actually the only lessons I took for music, in my whole career, like music theory and classical piano lessons since
Mm.
4 to 5 years. All the rest just taught myself. Um, but I also had the chance to, like, when I was in this rock band, to work with other producers because they were producing our albums. So I was already stealing with my eyes what they were doing. And like really soaking in everything they did, like tricks and vision and workflow. I was already like absorbing everything they were doing and really learning from it. So
Was it possible to get some knowledge from them, or were they keeping their own secret, so to speak?
no, they were very open-minded about it. Like if I had a question, they just told me like, okay, I'm doing this because this and this reason.
Mm.
There was one producer called Jack Schooner, um, which we worked with. He really taught me a lot, like how you can build like energy in a song or like in the structure of a song. He really just explained it to me. I just asked questions and he started teaching me everything about it. Like, okay, you can do this and this and this, and I learned so much from him about like how important it is to work with energy in productions.
Mm.
Uh, so, for example, another funny thing maybe is like we toured so much, and it was sometimes so boring that I started reading like a lot of books about music production, just to kill the time.
You could have gone to bars, but you chose to
No,
learn
no,
something.
no. It's like everybody thinks like going on tour is like super exciting, and it is exciting for 1 hour when you stand on stage.
Correct, but you
Then it
have
ends.
the whole thing around it, from booking to where to spend the night and where to not to spend too much money on it,
Yeah,
is a lot of hard work, and
yeah,
this is the rocky road I was referring to.
yeah. So I had so much time on those tours, and I was sometimes so bored that I read like every book I could find about music production and mixing and audio engineering. So I soaked up a lot of knowledge during those trips while we were on tour. So
One way to pick a career.
yeah, that's like another maybe very important turning point. Like we were at the height of our career, and I was like studying so much about music production, so that became more and more like the next logical step for me to transform from musicianship to producer.
Was there a
That
time when you produced your own songs from the band, or were the band songs always produced by other people?
they were always produced by other people, but the last album that I was still part of the band, we did like co-production.
Mm.
Uh, but then it wasn't only me, and the other members wanted to do stuff too about production. But then we still had like an extra producer for like really transforming our ideas into really production steps.
Mm.
Uh, but that's the last album I did with that band. So I'm not part of that band anymore. I'm now fully focused on building productions for other artists.
That would be the next question for me. When did the transition happen from being a full-time band member to owning your own studio?
Um, I started like having this idea for a studio around 2012. Um, but then it was like an attic room, like most musicians. So slowly I started offering my services to other artists. Like, look, I'm a producer and I want to start building a career in production. So maybe we can work together. So, like the usual startup stuff. And then around, let's say 2016, 2017, I moved into this room. So it's not an attic room anymore. It's really like a professional studio location now. So I got soundproofed rooms um, and like a really dedicated workspace now to work on music. And somehow that was like a huge transformation from like the whole startup period to like now really having like um, a higher output of productions and like better relationships with artists. And somehow more and more artists are starting to find a way to my studio. So getting this location was like a huge turning point. And together with another turning point, um, there was a band called Jackie Jam, and it was the same period I moved over here, and they wanted to do one single. I was like, yeah, fine, let's do it. But what turned out with this single was it won the other most important contest in Belgium.
What is the thing with you and the most important contests in Belgium?
I don't know, like somehow I won the second most important contest of Belgium with now being a producer, not being a musician anymore, but with a production that I made for another band.
Maybe the universe wants to tell you something.
Yeah, I think the universe wants to tell me like, look, you're really on the right spot by doing music, and it's like a really logical way of progressing, going from musician to producer. So that kickstarted like the whole Tapelab music studio. Like suddenly artists were calling me like, hey, we heard this track on the radio, and yeah, we figured out that you won the contest with that track. So we were interested in working with you too. So that got me like, yeah, new connections and new opportunities to work with other artists. So since then, it really is really growing and growing and growing. So that was a really important period, like getting this location, so the studio location, and at the same time producing that single that won this huge radio contest.
Mhm.
So that kickstarted everything, like really on a higher level.
With the whole arsenal, I read on your homepage what you have regarding hardware and software, and still you are getting those the certifications to be enabled trainer and stuff like this. Is it something you put all your money in, or is it a slow process and you are not just going all the way, but in little steps?
You mean investing in equipment or?
Yeah.
I do it in little steps,
Mm.
but somehow got to a point where I feel like I really have everything that I need for my creative process. I
Mm.
know there are like a lot of other options to buy or to use, but I feel like at this point I have like every tool that I need to make really good productions. So somehow the focus from buying equipment went to like, how can I become even a better producer now by even learning more stuff about music production? So I invest rather money. I rather invest money now in getting more knowledge instead of getting more gear, because I really feel I have everything to do whatever I want creatively on the gear level. So
There's, I figured during the recent years that you can have loads and tons of gear, but from one standpoint, there's also software that can do the trick. Without a regular listener or even with trained ears, it gets hard to even recognize the difference between hard and software
yeah, yeah,
processing.
yeah.
And as you just said, I think it's as long as you know how to do something, it doesn't matter how you
No,
do it, as long as you do it.
yeah. Yes. Uh, like just give me a copy of Ableton and I just use the stock plugins and I can make like a really amazing high quality production
Yeah.
because I just know how to do it.
Mm, mm.
So it's really not about the gear anymore. It's really like my focus is now on like being more creative and getting even more knowledge to become more creative and deliver better productions to artists. So that's where
Up,
I'm investing now. So,
up until now, was there a point where you get fed up with new input? Did you get tired at any point of learning new things or of the development of the new soft and hardware where you
yeah.
couldn't follow anymore, or do you just run with it?
There was a point like 3 years ago, I was like, um, how do I say it? Like, it's super fun to like learn new software and invest time in it. But like a few years ago, I had like, I can use this time to be more creative. Like, so let's just stop researching equipment and software and use that time to just make even more music. So I swapped it in for like more time to be creative.
Mm.
I'm still super interested in it. Don't get me wrong. I still like the geekiness of it and to study it and like really learn a piece of software and do something creative with it. But it takes time and then I get a little bit impatient because I know I just want to create. I don't want to always learn new software.
Correct, yeah. Because if you are the master and the genius of the knobs and faders, so everybody gets to you and says, "Do my stuff, produce my stuff." But I think the musician and the artist in you will have to step back in the process to just then it probably gets a bit of too much static work, maybe.
Hmm. Yeah, but now you're making like a little bit of too much of a separation between like a producer is more like a technical guy, and then you have like a musician. For me, it's like the same or like equally.
Okay.
Like I want to be the producer that's like has got can offer like really the technical things, but I also want to offer like creative solutions. Like it's not just me turning the knobs for you. I also gonna help you like yeah, like okay, your melody, oh, let's change the melody a little bit like this so it becomes better. Or like please have a look at the lyrics again. I think you can upgrade them with this or this.
Mm.
So that's what I want to do. I don't want to just be the technical guy in a production. I want to like think creatively with the artist and
Mm.
make like a better song then. So that's
So
like
is
my
working with an artist for you uh, like a relationship kind of thing, or do you have the artists coming into your place and telling you, okay, I need this mixed, this mastered, and I need your creative input on this, or is it all a wholesome process?
it can be both, but I have a preference for the wholesome process.
Mm.
Like the long term thinking together. Like, okay, you're at this point in your career and in 2 years you want to be there. Okay, fine, let me help you from to getting from this point to there. Because first of all, I know what it is to be an artist. I've been one myself. So I know which obstacles you can run into and I can help you to walk around. And I also like to just like like to build long-term relationships and really get to know the vision of the artist and help them to realize that vision. But that just takes time. So that's my preference. That's what I like the most. But the other option is possible too. Like for some artists, I just do the mix and the mastering and done. But
Mm.
even then, I'm probably gonna tell them like, look, if you change this and this, it's gonna be creatively better, or like your song is gonna be better. Or I ask them for permission, like, is it okay if I rearrange the structure a little bit? Because I think it will benefit not only the mix surface I'm offering to you will make it better, but also if I change the structure and arrangement a little bit, I think I can make it better for you. So I always, like I said like a few minutes ago, I don't want to be just a technical guy. I want to be like the creative partner of an artist too. So yeah, my preference is for the wholesome project.
Yeah.
Like let's dive in together and start building like a long-term career for you as an artist.
Is it still a kind of a classical contract thing then, or is it just uh, a developmental kind of work together? Because I just thought about if you have in mind what if I had a track and I knew, okay, I bring it to you and you have to do your magic on it to make it
Mhm.
sound better. That's
Yeah.
one thing, and then I can order one sound better, please.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But if I'm an aspiring musician and I want to become filthy rich and famous, and I come to you and say, okay, how do I do that? Then I think it's a process that takes months or years to develop ideas together, and
yeah.
you cannot just put a price tag on that. So I think it's kind of difficult to maybe to arrange something and do something with a long-lasting relationship.
Yes and no. First of all, like let me tell you first what I like to offer my artists. Like I offer them like a almost like a 360 approach. Like if we start working together on a project, first I build like a strategy plan with them. Like we're here, and in 3 years we want to be there. So and then we need to take this step, this step, this step, this step, and this step, and then we'll get into that position that we imagining right now. Then comes like the whole creative slash production phase. Like, okay, we have this track right now, or maybe we need to write a track together. So let's get going. And then we just focus on creative. Like, okay, we make the whole song, we make the production, it's ready for release. And then the last thing I offer them is like a promotion plan. Like, look, I've got experience in how to promote music. So let me advise you and make you like, or set up some guidelines for you in a plan that you can follow and start applying. And then about the price tag, it's possible to put a price tag on it, but it's more not just like a fixed thing, like, oh, I will charge you this sum of money and then we're done. It's more a combination of like a production fee and getting like credits too, like songwriting credits, or like a credit in the master ownership, or like synchronization fees. So if you start working on a long-term relationship with an artist, then you start including those things in like the price tag concept. Like, look, we're gonna do this for the long term, so if you become rich, fine, me too. Or I want to benefit from it too,
Right.
because I'm really gonna work super hard, like 200% for your career then. So we're in this together, but it's like a mixture then. They pay me a fee, but they also reward me with credits.
That's why your name keeps popping up in the descriptions of Spotify songs because you are mentioned on the production and even on the songwriting, whatever you did on this specific track. So yeah, I can imagine that this also is kind of rewarding for you, and it's like an advertising kind of thing, because people can hear the song and can say, oh, he did that, okay, I want him for my next production as well. So with that being said, when you approach a song with an artist creatively, where do you draw your creation from, your creative input from? Is it more like you try to get in the role of the artist, or because I can imagine that an artist puts a stamp on the track already. He or she will say, it sounds like this because I don't know of my feelings or anything. So you have a narrow bandwidth in which you can be creative.
Yeah,
So,
but that's cool. That's cool. I like the limitations sometimes.
okay.
Let's focus on like an artist with a clear vision, like Mona Lisa, for example. She's got like a super clear image or vision, like where she wants to be. And I really like to step into her world then and help her to reach that. And how we do it is like, we have like playlists with songs that we like, and then we just send them to each other. Like, look, listen to this song. I like, for example, the beats of this song. So okay, let's get inspired by this kind of beats. Or like, here's another song, I just like the general vibe of the song. Okay, let's get inspired by this vibe. So that's how I trigger myself, or let artists trigger me, like play me stuff you like, and or tell me about your vision, describe it like with images, and I will help you translate them into sound. So that's how we work. But I like having like limitations, but it's of course also fun to have like in those limitations, like a small playground that you can go to and do whatever you want in a production. And most artists like really allow me to do that. Like, look, I have this vision, but yeah, like the chorus, I got no idea what the chorus should sound like. Can you make something? And I'm like, yes. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Was there anywhere down this road a time where you where an artist met you and you didn't connect to his or her sound at all? That you said, oh, sorry, I'm so totally not into this kind of music?
Yeah, it happens. Sometimes artists reach out to me and they play me their music. Like, before we start working together, we always have like calls or meetings, or I invite them to the studio, like, hey, come over and let's have some coffee. Now it's a bit difficult still because of COVID, but before COVID, it was fun to just invite artists just for coffee and then talk about their project. Like, okay, tell me what you want to do. How do you want to sound? And also like, play me your music. What do you have right now? And that's usually the point that I'm going to decide, like, okay, I want to get involved or I don't. So if I don't want to get involved, I will tell them like immediately, like, look, sorry, I like your vision, but I'm just not the right person for it.
Okay.
But it never happened after we decided to work together until now. So let's knock on wood. So
Yeah.
until now, I was never in a situation like the production started, and then along the road we discovered we're not a match for each other. So
Mhm.
let's keep it like that. So
Yeah.
that's why I have this like pre-selection method. Like it's really important that they play me their music.
I think it's necessary for you to get used to the sound, to know, or to get to know the sound or the artist better, so you can
Uh,
decide if you're a match or not.
it's more about the songs because I can fix the sound for them, or I can create like a sound palette for them. So I'm
Okay.
not focusing on that. I'm focusing on other stuff. I have like a list of things I want them to meet or tick off. Um, for example, if they play me a song, I want to be able to remember it after just hearing it once. For example.
This is what I call leaving a mark. If it's
Yeah,
off the
yeah,
table as soon as you heard it, it's just mainstream radio
yeah.
background noise.
Something has to stick
Right.
after listening to it once. So that's already like uh, it's not the right word to call it a test, but that helps me to like, okay, listen to that track and that track, and an hour later I still remember it. Okay,
Mhm.
that's interesting. That's one thing I really pay attention to decide like, oh, I want to work together with you or I don't.
Yeah.
There are a few other things too, but I'm not gonna tell them because I don't want to scare artists away or like.
Right.
Don't-
If they're listening to you saying all those things, they will like, oh no, I got to meet following the following requirements.
Yeah,
If I
so
want.
let's keep those a secret for now.
Right. So
I
with
will tell you
2020,
after. I can tell you after the
right, after the
off the
official
record.
party, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So with 2021 in full progress now, what are the plans for you this year? Are you stacked with artists you're working with already, or are you still open for any new artists that want to work with you or want to try working with you at least?
Both. Um, like they're returning artists like Mona Lisa, Mirias, Jackie Jam. These are all projects I already worked for, and we're planning new stuff.
Mhm.
Like I have 3 songs going on with Jackie Jam. I have 4 songs going on with Mona Lisa, and I'm gonna do an EP for Mirias. But also, yes, new artists are welcome too. If I like their project and they like what I can offer to them, yeah, let's talk and hopefully start building a career together for that specific artist. So yeah, new artists are very welcome, of course. Yeah.
Have you ever thought of throwing yourself into the game as an artist, as a single or band artist again?
No, been there, done that.
Short and sweet, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Like I said, I played 18 years in that rock band.
was
I
it rock
know
or was it punk?
indie rock,
Ah, okay,
like alternative indie rock, like Placebo, that kind of music.
okay.
Um, and then I had like one electro dance project after that for like a few years. That was me and a drummer.
Mhm.
And to be honest, my artist side of me is satisfied.
Okay. Yeah, I totally can think that is true because there's only so much you want to achieve, and if you reach that level, why should you chase after this kind of goal if you have another goal that's equally or more important to you?
Yeah, like it all started like, wow, we won this contest. It would be cool to release a full album. Okay, a few years later, oh, okay, we've done a full album. Oh, it would be cool to do a second one. Okay, we're doing a second one. And then like, then with the third and fourth, you're like, okay, we know what it is. Oh, let's focus on doing European tours. Oh yeah. Get excited again, and then you reach that goal, and it's like, okay, what's next?
Yeah, it gets casual over time. Yeah.
Yeah, so you start focusing on other things and start to search new challenges. And now the biggest challenge for me personally is like, how can I grow as a producer and help other artists release their vision and their music in the best possible way? So that's the challenge for me right now. So I don't have any plans anymore to become an artist myself.
Okay.
Like I said, been there, done that, and that part is satisfied.
My last question would be, is there anything on your bucket list that you haven't ticked off that you want to do in the near future, like working with someone special or working somewhere special maybe, or doing something completely different?
Good question.
Ha, I'm known for good questions.
Yeah, that's a good one. There are dreams, of course. Let me just like maybe share a dream. And then, yeah, that's actually like a bucket listing too, of course. Like, would be nice to like really score like a European or international #1 hit. That's like a challenge for me.
An achievable one after all the contests you already won. So
Yeah,
it would be the
no.
next logical step to enter such a contest.
So yeah, that's really high on the bucket list, to be honest.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
that would be nice to read that.
So Pascal, thank you very much for sharing some insights with us today. Guys, if you want to know more about the multi-talent Pascal Oorts, please check out the links in the description of the video or in the description of the podcast. Pascal, once again, thank you very much for being here tonight. I hope we hear more from you and the artists you work with very, very soon, because your playlist is ever growing, as I saw on Spotify.
Yeah.
And I hope it will continue that way.
That's the goal.
That's it from this episode.
I have a strategy plan for myself too, so.
Right.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I really liked our talk about production and music, so it was really nice.
Just lifting the curtain on some secrets behind the curtain, so to speak. All right, that's it with this episode. Guys, thank you very much for listening and watching, and until next time. Bye there.
Bye-bye.